Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here, host of the podcast Dare Me. If you're about to tune into our program, we just wanted to give you fair warning that if you're easily triggered by mention of specific drugs, you may want to think twice about watching our program. Also, if you're easily offended by strong language, again, you may want to reconsider watching our program. We don't hold any punches. We keep it real, and it can get raw sometimes on this show. So just wanted to give you fair warning. We do hope you tune in, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here. Hi everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here. Hey everyone, Glenn Victor here again.
Glenn?
I don't know that.
Yeah. Is that going to work for you?
I mean, I don't.
Is that the best you could really do with that? Okay, let's do another one.
Oh, don't fuck this up. Hey everyone, welcome to the Dare Me podcast. It's Glenn Victor. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We're so happy to finally get the program started. This program has been in the planning for a long time, and we're premiering today on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. We are live right now. Program being recorded, and it'll be available for people to watch or listen to anytime they want to moving forward. But we'll be going live every Sunday, 4 o'clock on the West Coast. That's where I'm at, in the Sacramento, California area, and 7 o'clock on the East Coast. Got to bring in my partner in crime right out of the gate, my best friend, Dean Baker from Post Effects. There he is, and Dean is live from Orlando, Florida, where he's doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff and also going to be helping to co-host the program. Dean, thank you so much. We're glad you're here with us.
Well, Glenn, it's been a pleasure, and it is a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir.
I want to say long-time listener, but yeah, I've been a long-time listener of you. So,
yeah, well, and Dean put that promo together and just surprised me with it today that we opened the show with. Dean, thank you so much for doing that, man. That was really cool. And that kind of goes to show that Dean and I have been working together for a long time. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the program here shortly, but I do think some introduction here is certainly appropriate. Dean, you and I go back, God, what, at least 25 years or
yeah,
so.
mid-90s, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I hate to be dating ourselves, but back in them days, I was hosting a television show in Orlando.
We're going there now. Okay.
Remember that one? I saw a meme online not long ago. It kind of made me think to myself. It was different cities, but for myself, it would be made in Detroit, assembled in Orlando, and shipped to Sacramento. That's kind of my story. So while I was being assembled in Orlando, I long story there, but I was hosting a television show for 6 years. I still can't believe we did that show that long, called The Taste of Central Florida, and it was like a culinary tour of local restaurants in and around Central Florida. Anyways, the first, I think about a year or so that I was doing it, I inherited one of the camera guys and production guys, and he ended up moving to California himself, actually, and was working for the Benny Hinn Ministries. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I ran a little ad in the Sentinel looking for a video production and camera guy, and Dean answered it, and we've been riding together ever since. Remember that, Dean?
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, oh my God.
I was eating a lot better back then.
I know. Man, we got some stories. We got some bloopers from that show, too, that we got to maybe show sometime. But anyway, so Dean and I worked on that show all those years. And then, of course, I worked at the Safety Council in the Central Florida area, in Orlando, Tampa area, for, 25 years. And we did a lot of cool stuff that Dean included in that promo, some video work and stuff. So, yeah, man, we've been riding together for a long time. And, Dean knows my family. Man, you know my son, G, who's going to be part of the program since he was a little boy. I remember coming to editing sessions at your studio there, and I'd have him in a little car seat.
He was a little guy back then.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Dean and I go back a long way and have worked together for a long time on a lot of projects. And bro, I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to work with me on this program. And as I've said in a lot of things leading up to this program, if we get even one viewer, even one, and we might be able to help even one person pull themselves out of that horror of being addicted to drugs, hey, man, it's all worth it. We're hoping to get to more people than just one, and I know, Dean, you're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go on, but just want to say thank you again for agreeing to work with me on this program and giving it such a cool and professional look, man. I just really dig everything you've done with the graphics. We got different camera angles going on and all that stuff. So thank you again, bro.
Well, let's start the show out right and just say that we're not therapists.
Yeah.
We're not
I'm glad.
Psychologists, psychiatrists. We're not. We're not professionals.
Absolutely. And you and I, we talked about this off the air a little bit yesterday. You're exactly right, and I appreciate you leading me into that. I want to say right out of the gate, I am no medical professional, or will I ever claim to be. I'll also say this topic of addiction and recovery, that I do consider myself to be an expert on. I don't consider myself an expert on many things. That old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. But this is one topic that I certainly, from personal experience, feel like I am an expert on. Now, that being said, and I'm going to tell my story on this program as we go, Dean and I were working on some rehearsals yesterday, y'all, and one of the things that Dean mentioned and we discussed is there's just no way we'll be able to get to everything we want to talk about on this particular edition of the show. We've committed to doing this program every Sunday for a whole year, so we got a lot to come. A lot of cool guests lined up we'll be talking about and all that kind of stuff. But today we're going to kind of try to lay the groundwork, lay the foundation and all that. And, the reason I say that is because, again, I will be telling my story, and getting into all that. But, I heard something at a meeting I went to the other night, and it goes right in line with what you were saying, Dean, is, I want to be real careful about the things we talk about here. As a friend of mine, I'll mention some names, my friend of mine, Shay, who, God bless her, man, love her to death, she was saying, at this meeting I went to the other day, sometimes people get involved in recovery or whatever with their good sharing ass, as she says, and think they're going to save the world. And if they're not careful about the things they say or, what they know they're talking about, they can fuck around and kill somebody, by giving them the wrong information or bad advice. And I absolutely do not want that to happen. So, the second part of the message she shared, which is exactly where I'm at and how I feel about it, is all I can do is share my story. What happened to me? What happened with me, I think, is a better way to say it, because I don't think of myself as a victim with what happened, with my addiction and involvement with drugs and everything. It's just what happened. Somehow, some way, some miraculous way, I was able to pull myself out of that madness, thank God. And so hopefully by sharing my story and some of the things that I did that worked for me might help someone else who might come across this program that might be looking for a way out of that. So yeah.
So
Dean,
what
I
specific?
Can't thank you enough for saying that. Yep.
What
yep.
specific drug are you referring to?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, bro. Really, for the sake of this program, we're talking about addiction to any drug, you name it. The one that prompted me to do this program, though, was I was addicted to opiates for 9 freaking years, y'all. 9 years. And I know we have some people that, follow my stuff, on social media that I've been putting out there for a long time leading up to this program, know that I celebrated 2 years clean yesterday, March 11th. And we didn't plan for this program to start the day after I hit my 2 years. It's just the way it all worked out. We had been planning this program for a long time, and it's just weird the way the stars aligned and that we premiered this program the day after I hit 2 years. But, yeah, 2 years clean yesterday off of the opiates. And so this whole opioid epidemic, that we've been hearing about for so long has not gone away, y'all. Sometimes in the media it seems like it's gone on the back burner. It seemed like when COVID hit a couple of years ago, it just wasn't getting as many headlines as it had been prior to that. But I just read an article probably a week ago. There was this poor lady, God bless her, man. She lost 2 of her young kids that were about 18, 19 to fentanyl overdose in Michigan. And she was testifying before Congress and talking about this whole opiate epidemic and what's going on, with the fentanyl and everything. All these drugs that are being laced with fentanyl now. There's fake pills out there, some of which I got my hands on at one point, which, again, I'll be talking about, man. I'm going to tell some more stories on this program about my experience. But so anyway, Dean, you know me, man. I'm never at a loss for words. Long answer to a short question. But this last run of mine, it was all about opiates, man, and I got hooked on them fucking pain pills, and it all started, I got a long history with addiction, that, again, I'll be talking more about. I got clean originally as a young man. I started partying, getting high, smoking dope and all that shit as a teenager, and I got clean for the first time just shy of 25 years old after using all those years, and I stayed clean for almost 17 years, 16 years, 9 months. I was clean when I met you originally, Dean, and then I had a horrible relapse, and that was all about booze and smoking weed, shit like that. It lasted about 5 years. Landed in a freaking treatment center. I ended up in a rehab, Brighton, up in Michigan, which is a great institution we'll talk more about on the program, and that was good for me. I got out of there, stayed clean again over 6 years, and then I broke my ankle. And I was at a NA roller skating party of all damn things. Had no business out there with my old ass. But, hey, man, I used to skate when I was younger. I was a damn good skater, too. I played hockey a couple of years. I was into the whole roller disco thing, and I got talked into going. And I thought, hey, how hard could it be? And it all came back to me. I had a great night. I was having a blast. All I had to do was step off the rink at the end of the night, and I went from this smooth, slick, fast surface to carpeting, lost my balance, came down hard on my ankle, and next morning I was in surgery, and they put 3 pins in my ankle. And as I often say, tossed me a bottle of Vicodins on the way out the door. And, man, I should have known better. I still feel like a fucking idiot about that, man. I had no business fucking with no narcs, but I feel so naive because I never fucked with opiates before. When I was a younger man, I was a cokehead, a drinker, pot smoker, and all that other shit that we used to do. never fucked with opiates, and I started taking them, and oh man, do they work. I'll tell you that. They definitely work, and they make you feel great, man. I remember saying to one of my friends, Shelly, I was talking to her and saying, damn, this is the best thing that ever happened to me, man. I can take this shit, I feel great, I'm able to function, and that's the thing with them things, Dean, is, you know, they make you feel great, but you're able to function. That's how it went on for me for 9 years, you know. I was a functional addict, you know. Now, them last couple of years when it really spun out of control, oh my God, that's when the horror stories hit. You know, but anyway, so yeah, man, that's how it all started, you know. I started taking them damn pills when I broke my ankle. And, man, I'll talk more about it as we go, you know, but it definitely snowballed out of control, man. And then, you know, not to get bogged down on this, but I got cancer, too. I had bladder cancer. And it'll be 6 years next month since I had the surgery. And they say if you go 5 years without that kind of cancer coming back, you're pretty much back to the same chances of the average person of ever getting it again. So, you know, hopefully I'm good there and out of the woods there. The thing is, though, when I was going through that, thank God I didn't have to do radiation, but I did go through 6 months of chemo. And, man, then it really got bad. I started taking all kinds of shit, Percocets and Oxys and Demerol and Dilaudid and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, before you know it, you're doctor shopping, all that kind of shit. And next thing you know, you're trading pills with people you know. And, man, I'll tell you what, bro, you can spot people a mile away. When you're hooked on that shit, man, you notice if somebody's got a little limp or some shit or whatever. You say, hey, bro, you taking anything for that, man? Oh, hey, so do I, too. Yeah. Hey, I'm running a little tight, man, at the end of the month. You think you could front me? I re-up next week. And before you know it, you got this little network, people you're trading with. Then all of a sudden, you got a buddy who says, hey, man, I know a guy that gets 90, but he don't use them, man, and he likes to flip them. You want to go in on them? And next thing you know, you're buying shit from people and, you know, getting them off the streets and all kinds of crazy shit, man, and it just snowballs out of control. And so then, you know, at the end of it all, man, this ain't something I'm proud to say, but I'm here, like my shirt says, break the silence, man, to tell my story. At the end of it, I started snorting fucking heroin. Holy shit, here I'm a 57, 58-year-old man, never fucked with that shit in my life, but when you get dope sick, and your plug ain't got the good, as we say. It says, hey, man, we got some heroin here. It'll hold you over till we can get some more good shit, you know. It's like, and it's cheaper, and you're dope sick. You'll fucking do anything. You know, it's like, that shit had me, man, by the fucking kahunas, you know. And that's what happens to people, man. Is you do things you never thought in a million years you would do, you know. It's very common around the recovery community. You know, you'll hear people say that we all have a lot of yets. You know, you get clean and then maybe you go back out again. You know, there's things you'll check off that list. As a buddy of mine, Mark, says, man, you begin to lower your standards. You start to lower your standards and you do shit you never thought in a million years you would do. And, you know, I was talking about that whole thing. I kind of got sidetracked. Surprise with me. You know, I was talking about this.
It's only an hour show there, Glenn.
Yeah, right. As I say, we'll never get to it all in one show. But I was talking about that lady that testified in Congress, and that was kind of one of the points I wanted to make is in the article I read, and this stuff is all common knowledge information that's out there, you know, that on average, according to the latest statistics available, about 220 people die from an opiate-related overdose every single day in the United States. That's just our country, bro. This is worldwide, this shit going on, but it's bad here in the U.S. So think about that for a minute. You just mentioned, Dean, we're trying to do this program in about an hour. You do the math. What is that? About 10 people are going to die by the time we finish this freaking program. unbelievable. In the United States, 10 people will die from an opiate overdose by the time we finish this program. So for me, I kind of want to bring it full circle. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, man. I ordered this shirt. There's a group out there. Let me turn it around.
All I see is the back of the chair.
Oh. Okay, how's that? Yeah.
Recover out loud. There you go.
There you go. My bad, the back of the chair. There's a group out there, Recover Out Loud, and I want to clarify. This program is not Recover Out Loud. I'm recovering out loud, and I ordered this shirt from their organization because I think it's really freaking cool what they're doing. And that's the whole idea with me doing this, As you know, Dean, I worked in the professional world in Orlando, especially being involved with the council, worked with a lot of, politicians, law enforcement people, high-profile business people, things to that nature where, stuff like this just doesn't really get discussed. It's almost kind of like a don't say anything. There's that stigma still. And I know I've probably blown the minds of some people that knew me back when we were doing all that kind of stuff, like, oh my God, fucking Glenn's sure showing his ass, but goddamn right, man, that shit almost killed me. It literally almost destroyed me. And I never kept it a secret over all the years that I was an addict and in recovery. I just never broadcasted it like we are right now, you know what I mean? If someone ever, caught wind of it or would ask me about something, having to do with addiction, I was more than happy to talk about it. And if it got around to part of my story, I'd talk about it, no fucking problem, It's just something I never really put out there because of that stigma. And so that's part of what we're trying to do with this program is break that stigma, and we're also going to talk a lot on this program about 12-step programs. I want to talk about that a little bit right now because in the 12-step programs, there's what they call traditions. And one of the traditions is we must always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And so that, and then there's another part in the readings that says the traditions are non-negotiable. And for whether it's AA, NA, GA, OA, fucking A, as we sometimes say, those traditions, are interpreted in different ways by different people. So, and then I'll also say, for example, with NA, it goes back to 1953 when that program was formed, and then AA even long before that. I'll also say it's 2023, folks, okay? So things have changed a little bit. I get it, non-negotiable. Some things there's zero tolerance toward. And I just want to clarify, I am not here representing NAAA or any fucking program, like that.
Let's talk about the traditions a little bit. Obviously people would feel like they'd be persecuted for coming out, as someone with addiction. I mean, think of a brain surgeon, exactly. That's hooked on alcohol or something pilot. Like that. Yeah. An airline pilot. We're talking topics of lots of movies and TV and all that. So, but nowadays, you can't just fire somebody for having an addiction. Especially if they're trying to get into recovery and stuff like that, So you just can't. I mean, you've been in the corporate world, a good part of the last couple of decades. I have not, but I think that what will happen. You said it. 20, 40, 50, 70 years have gone by. Do you really? Do you think the same things should apply? Do you think silence, should be, anonymity should be, of course nowadays we have social media and anybody can say anything about anyone, anytime. And of course people can get fired by what they say on social media. Well, you're retired now, so you don't have to worry about getting fired. I'm self-employed. I don't have to worry about getting fired for things I say. But, I have clients that might disagree with me. What are the things that you talk about or don't talk about in personal situation? Politics, religion, and addictions. You just don't talk about stuff like that because
I
people,
get it,
it's
that's
just
a great question. A great perspective on the whole thing. So several things I can say about that. One that came to mind is that in the 12-step programs, for example, as I was talking about, addiction, alcoholism, it's described as a disease. And what is it? I may be saying this incorrectly. Center for Disease Control, or whatever the hell it is.
CDC.
The official, medical. Oh, sorry, bumped my mic there. Medical association for the government, the Fed. Describes addiction and alcoholism as a disease. And we'll talk more about that in the program, because that kind of is hard for some people to grasp when they come into the programs. But at the end of the day, I don't think many people can deny. Maybe it's not a disease, but I don't think many people can deny it's a sickness. It's a fucking illness, okay? Nobody in their right mind just wakes up one day and decides, I'm going to become a dope fiend. Certainly wasn't the case with me. I'm not going to, I don't think people wake up one day and say, I think I'll become a drug addict. It doesn't happen like that. And on that note, I want to recommend something to somebody who maybe is struggling with addiction, who may, come across the program. There's a documentary out there that has been out for a couple of years now, and I watched it a couple of times, actually, and it's one of the best I've seen. And it's called The Neuroscience of Addiction. And I watched it on Prime, but I'm sure, it's out there on different platforms. And it won't take you long to watch. There's I think a half dozen episodes, and they're all about a half hour long. And the thing about that program is, if you watch the whole thing, I just can't imagine how you could walk away from watching that and not understand. I see your graphic, Dean. Thank you, man. That addiction is a sickness. More progress has been made in the study of addiction and the human brain in the last 20 years than the 100 years prior to it. And that has a lot to do with, technology, advancements in medical science, things to that nature. I mean, I'll give you one little example about that documentary. People who suffered from addiction literally left their brains and bodies to science after they died.
Really?
And yeah. So they show parts of the human brain under a microscope. It's almost like they took these brains and sliced them, kind of like with a meat slicer you see at the grocery store, and put each layer under a microscope, and they discovered all these things about the brain that they didn't even freaking know, man, about how, for example, they used to think all these little wires in the brain were connected, and come to find out there's gaps between these, what they call synapses and shit like that, and just made so much advancement in the study of the human brain, how after a person who's been struggling with addiction gets clean, the brain does rewire itself. It actually does rewire itself. And, that made me think of something somebody told me once. It's like, and this is a person, I'm not going to mention my name, but I really don't have much of an understanding of addiction, and we were talking about a particular person, and they said, yeah, man, it's too bad, it didn't really know much about my story either, and said, it's too bad, when people get caught up in addiction, they get hooked on heroin or whatever, man, even when they get clean, they're just never the same, and I thought to myself, fucking hey, we're not, thank God for that, too, because first of all, who the fuck would want to be the same as they were when they were using that shit? And then prior to using it? What was going on in the brain that would even lead you to start doing it, So thank God we don't ever become the same. I was talking to my sister about this once. It's like, I remember when I got clean, Dean, saying to her, God, I just want my life back. I just want my life back, because I assure y'all, and I want to talk more about this as we go on, I tried to kick and get clean this time for a long freaking time before I was finally able to. I mean, for a couple of years I was trying, And I'm going to talk about the things that ended up working for me. I know I talked about that earlier, and I'm going to. The thing is I'm making a point on, though, is I remember saying to her, I just want my life back. And then I had this moment of awareness, almost enlightenment, where I was like, you know what? Wait a minute. Fuck that guy. I don't want that life back. Fuck that life and that guy. I don't want nothing to do with that. I want to reinvent myself and start over. And that's pretty much exactly what I've done, man. That's still part of who I am and my history and all that shit. But, man, whatever was going on up in this head back then, it almost destroyed me, like I said. So, anyways, I really appreciate the graphics you're putting up there, Dean. That's all great information. But, again, I do recommend if someone wants to get educated on a little bit more, that documentary, The Neuroscience of Addiction, it really is a good one. So, did I answer your question? I don't even remember what your question was, bro. Anyways, so, yeah, man, just want to put a little bit of a disclaimer out there again about the whole 12-step thing. We started talking about that a little bit. This is not a 12-step program. This is not an NA thing. This is not an AA thing. This is not a GA, a OA, a whatever, I'm going to talk frankly about those programs, absolutely, because I am involved with them programs. I'm, as I often say, I'm a NA guy, man, for life, whether I like it or not. And we'll talk a lot about the history of those programs and the connection between them all, but I want to put that disclaimer out there. I am not a representative of NA. I'm not a representative of AA. I'm just another fucking addict trying to stay clean another day, trying to do the next right thing, putting one foot in front of the other, So just want to make that clarification there. And we're going to talk a lot about that, too, because for somebody who may come across this program that's never been to a 12-step meeting, an NA meeting, an AA meeting, whatever the case may be, if you got a gambling problem, a GA meeting, people don't know what to expect. And certainly, I'm hoping that part of this program is to help people understand that whole process and what them programs are all about a little bit more. So maybe it might prompt them to go check out a meeting and see if it's for them. I will say NAAA, fucking A, do not have a monopoly on how to get and or stay clean. I'll also say they certainly have helped a lot of people, including myself. So, if you come across this program and you're struggling with addiction and maybe looking for a way out, that might be an answer for you, or certainly part of what could help you. As I often share, with others that I communicate with about this whole addiction thing and share at meetings sometimes, I think of my recovery in two different ways. I have my program, which is my 12-step program. I'm an NA guy, like I said. That's my program, man. That's all my NA shit that I do. And then I have my recovery. That includes a hell of a lot more than just NA, man. I do a lot of other stuff, even some in the hashtags here. I try to meditate on a regular basis. I try to participate in yoga, the whole enlightenment thing. My involvement with music has helped me tremendously, which, oh my God, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that, getting fit again. Exercise has been such a huge part of my recovery. So many different components come into play when you're working on getting healthy again, recovering from addiction. So again, I hope that kind of clarifies a little bit. Like I said, the difference between the whole 12-step thing, a program, and recovery as a whole. There's a lot more involved in it, than just the whole 12-step thing. But certainly, as I've said before, I put a video out there on social media when I got my 2 years a day ago. That there's a saying around the program: any asshole can get clean. You really want to get clean, you can get clean. Going to a treatment center, going to a rehab, going to detox, they'll get you clean. But how the fuck you going to stay clean when you get out of there? There's some things you got to do. The old saying, the parable of the empty mind. You take all that shit out of you, man, you better replace it with something positive pretty damn quick, or some negative shit's going to get right back in there, and before you know it, you'll be right down the road again, doing the same old bullshit that got you there in the first place. So anyway, so I did want to talk a little bit. I mentioned music, man. We're going to be talking about music a lot on this program. And I did mention, too, that, man, we've got some great guests lined up for this program. And, music, like I said, has been such a big part of my recovery. And there are some artists out there right now that are really putting out some great music with a positive message. And I'm talking about like positive message in terms of, staying off of dope and living clean and recovery and shit like that. And one artist in particular that I want to mention is that boy Kasky. I've developed a little bit of a friendship with him. We met each other for the first time, I don't know, about 10 years or so ago, and I know he wouldn't mind me telling this story. Then my son actually introduced me to his music, because they used to go to school in the Orlando area at the same middle school, Indian Trails over in Winter Springs. They didn't really know each other, but G kind of knew who he was. I think he's a year behind him or whatever. And, he was just a young kid, man. He ended up getting signed by Birdman, who discovered some of his shit online. Yeah, there's my boy Kasky right there. And so anyway, man, Kasky, when he was a younger guy, again, I know he wouldn't mind me talking about this shit. He had some music out there that, kind of glorified using, smoking, all that kind of shit. And, G introduced me to his music, and we went to a show in the Orlando area at the old Firestone. I don't know what they call that place now. I think it was Firestone. One of them clubs down on Orange Avenue, downtown Orlando, and that was it, man. I was riding with that motherfucker ever since. Love his music. That was back when he had this release he put out called Transient Classics. And anyways, jump ahead. We met a couple of times, just in passing or whatever. And then Kasky put out this, CD, album, whatever the fuck you want to call it, last summer, called This Isn't Even My Final Form. And it's all about, like, recovery, man. And then the dude is, like, living clean now and promoting clean living and shit. And he put down all the dope. And then he did this conference, this Future of Artists conference, which was really kind of geared more toward music, but really included all kinds of artists. And he did it in Orlando. And I flew all the way to Orlando from Sacramento to attend this thing with a couple friends of mine, Shebang, and this guy, Brendan. And, man, we had a ball. We had so much fun, and it truly gave us an opportunity to have some up-close and personal time with Kasky, with some of his famous producers, Anonymous, Victor Sounds, Tasty. Met this guy, Angel Hills, on one of his tunes, and just all kinds of cool-ass artists, which, by the way, I got to talk about my boy Dustin, who created our logo. I'll talk about it in a second. But anyway, long story short, got to know Caskey pretty good, and he's agreed to be a guest on the show. So kind of a high-profile artist. If you look up his stuff online, man, he's got some great music out. He's been in the game for a long time. I think he's about 30 now. Sorry, bro, if you see this, that I'm putting you out. I know you won't mind, man, but he ain't no spring chicken no more. But, man, he's got such a positive message. And, man, if you might happen to be a person struggling with addiction, check out his In My Final Form release. It came out last summer, man. There's some tunes on there: Rock Bottom, Sinner Like Me, Serenity Prayer, and they're fucking great tunes with such a positive message. And looking forward to him being a guest on the show and talking about how he turned his life around and, spreading that positive message and things to that nature. So, yeah, and then, man, we got some other great guests lined up for all my Orlando friends. My boy Dennis Salvaggio, affectionately known as the Orlando Magic Fat Guy. And, hey, I didn't give him that name. That's just the name he became known as. And he became a national celebrity on the news and ESPN and all that shit back when the Magic were so huge, kind of during the Shaq and Penny era and all that. Dennis has got fascinating stories. And by the way, he ain't so big anymore, he has gotten fit and really worked on, there's some graphic of Dennis. And Dean, you know Dennis. We've worked with him on a lot of projects. So anyway, Dennis is living real healthy and fit these days, and he's messaged me a couple times. He's looking forward to being on the program. And Dennis has fascinating stories about some of his worldly travels. For those of y'all in Central Florida who may know Dennis, he's also a criminal defense attorney. He is pretty much retired now, but I understand he still does take some cases and all. But Dennis is going to be a great guest. He really does have some cool-ass stories. One of my favorite is he went to Easter Island. If you know about Easter Island, he's actually a king of Easter Island, and he'll talk about that, I'm sure. So, Dennis, if you see this, bro, we're looking forward to having you on the show. Anyways, a lot of other guests. Man, I got to talk about some friends here in the Sacramento area. This duo, Moving Forward Music. Oh, my God. This dude I met, Tyler Olam, and his partner, Josh Beckert, I think it is, Josh. And, man, they have music with such a positive message. If you come across this and you're looking for some good music to bump maybe while you're in the gym or whatever, it's MOVN, the number 4 word. You can find them on YouTube, Moving Forward Music, and it's all with such a positive message, and it's good-ass shit, man. So anyway, them guys are going to be on the show. We're going to have I'm really hoping to get a couple authors on the program. Here's a book I read not long ago, Destiny in Real Time by Darlene Hartway. She's a friend that I met out here in Sacramento, and I actually met her on Christmas Day, believe it or not. And she talked a little bit that day about that book, and I read it, and mind blown. Is really a good book, and so I want to have her on the program to talk more about that as well. And man, I can just go on and on. We got my boy Shivang, who's an artist. We're going to have him as a guest on the program, and lots of others. So, I don't want to go into all the name dropping and different things. We've got set our sights high, actually, on some other guests. We're hoping, me and Dean talked about this. There's that old saying, aim high, soaring, aim low, boring. And we were joking around, but half serious about maybe trying to get Matthew Perry on here. If you're a Friends fan, you know that he had some real struggles with addiction himself, and it almost destroyed him and killed him. And he's got a book out now, and he was kind of doing a little promo tour over the past several months promoting that book. And man, if we might be able to get the message to him and get him on the program, that'd be fucking awesome, And then, man, you just never know. Hey, I'll put it out there, man. Maybe we'll fucking get Eminem on this program, Marshall Mathers, my boy from Detroit City, if you know, he lives clean, and he's been clean and sober for, God, years now, man. And, he put out that recovery CD, man. I was clean when that came out, and you just never know, man. The whole Kevin Bacon connection thing, it's like Caskey is working on another second album with Yellow Wolf, and Yellow has done shit with them, so you never know, man. Maybe the word will get through, and we might fucking get Eminem on this program one day. Bro, if you ever see this, man, come on, get a hold of us. We'll have you on. We'll talk about living clean, So, anyway, yeah, man, we got lots of great plans. What do you think, Dean? You think we'll ever get any of them, folks?
Well, I want you to reach out and give Linda Kolzik from Jacksonville.
Linda Kolchak, an old friend of mine. Hey, Linda from Jacksonville. Yeah, Linda and I, oh my God, we go back a long way, man. We just reconnected on social media, and we met when I was working at the radio station at Henry Ford Community College in Dearborn, Michigan, right over there at Ford Road and Southfield area. I went to school there for a couple of years, and man, I was the sports editor at the paper. They gave me a scholarship paid for my school over there, the Florida State News, and then they had a radio station, WHFR, that's still a thing, by the way. I went to the Dearborn Homecoming while I spent the summer up in Detroit last summer, and they had a booth there. So anyway, Linda, yeah, it's so good to, see you participating and watching the program. And I've been enjoying watching your travels out on the road. Linda drives a semi. and
yeah, I don't know if you can see the comment section, but I'm just going to put it up on screen for you.
Yeah, no, I can see it. She says she's in Jacksonville, just got off the truck, and that she hates snow.
Yeah. I don't know how that equates from Jacksonville. There's no snow in Jacksonville.
Well, I think she just got to Jacksonville from a destination she had to drive through snow to get to, So,
yeah.
Who else we got participating live? I see my boy G, who's going to be part of the programs there.
Yeah, Glenn showed you some love, and Phil Bird,
Yeah. Well, hey, so Dean, let's kind of shift gears, if we may, a little bit. We'll get back to the topics at hand, but we did want to talk, because I got some questions from people today, because I was putting info about the program out there on social media, trying to promote it and all that. And it kind of blew my mind. Some people I thought would have known this shit, like, hey, bro, how do I see the program? How do I log on? Send me a link and all this shit. And I'm thinking, dude, just log on to your favorite platform and you'll see we're live and check in. So if you would, I've been putting it out there that people could participate in the program if they wanted to. We can put them on live like you're seeing me and Dean right now. If you're not comfortable having your face on camera, we can have you call in and just hear your voice. Or you can just do the chat if you like, if you're participating live. So, Dean, would you talk a little bit more about that and the platforms we're on? I know we didn't quite get on all of them that we're going to today because it's the first one and all, but let me stop talking for a second and let you explain all that, all right?
Well, I mean, it's easy. The easiest way to communicate with us is through watching the link and just chatting, just sending us a message through Facebook, YouTube, whatever location that you hit. So, but if you'd like to actually be seen and heard on the show, then you can reach out to Glenn or myself. We can send you a direct link, or we can actually publish a direct link here in the chats, and then you can click on that and go through StreamYard and join us in the program.
I'm playing with the camera. I thought we'd get you a little more up there and close and personal. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So we also have a live call-in. So, hey, Linda, if you want to actually call us live, we're going to try this. 2, 3, 9, 4, 6. Boom. Hang on. Let me just kind of finish typing this live call-in. Save. And I'll just put it right up there. And anybody wants to do a live call-in, I'll leave that up for a little while. My phone has to ring, so I actually have to hear it, and then I can bring it on the air. Now, if you're just going to go up and just scream at us and do a Baba Booey kind of thing, then,
hey,
we'll take it. We'll take it.
Thick-skinned.
We'll take it, yeah. But yeah, you can actually call the show live, and for at least the remaining time here, please don't call me after midnight. That would be annoying. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, chat on you, watch us on YouTube or Facebook and chat in. Great. We try and I'm watching all the chats, make sure everybody's seen and heard. And then if you want to participate and be on camera like we're doing, we'd love to have you on the show. You just got to reach out to us, or even in the chats, ask us for a link. Say, hey, I want to come on the show right now. I'll send you a link right now. Yep. In fact, we'll even try it just to see anybody out there. Let me just find the link here.
So, quick question, Dean.
Yes.
If someone say they're watching on their iPhone or their Android, on their phone, and they wanted to come on the program where we can see them just like you and I are on there right now, they can actually even do that on their phone, right? They don't have to have a computer with a camera in the monitor. They can do it right on their phone, right?
Yeah, for a limited time, we can, and I can even publish it in the comments section as well. All right, post a comment. There we go. Control V. And this is only a link for the next 10 minutes. But if somebody wanted to, they can look in the chats. They could see a link to StreamYard, and that would they can use their personal phone device or iPad or laptop, or we'll get a couple of cups and a string, and we'll just kind of stretch it across the world, and that's where we're at. So.
Okay, so Dean, let's talk a little bit about, we're going live on all the favorite platforms people have. Facebook, and we got a couple different, several different Facebook profiles. I got my personal one, the Dare Me page. We got your Post Effects page. We got, the YouTube channels. We're on, other platforms that, we didn't get them all set up today because it's a first program, but we were committed to getting started today. But we're going to be live streaming Twitter, doing some things with Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the things, as we say.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Somebody's already looking for us.
Looks like Linda's there. Yeah. Hey,
all
Linda.
Right. Shall we add her to the stream?
Absolutely. She's a good person. We haven't talked in, oh, my God, 30-some years. Hi, Linda.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining in. Oh, we're so glad to have somebody on the program. You're our very first guest. Thank you.
I'm impressed, Glenn.
Oh,
I'm impressed.
God. Thank you so much. How are you, my old friend?
Let's see. I'm a truck driver. Been a truck driver. It's going on 29 years this year.
Wow. Well, we saw you posted you hate snow, so I got to ask, where were you traveling where you just went through the snow?
Well, what I do is they call it the Jet Set. I'm with Schneider National Trucking Company.
Right on.
And what they do is they fly me out to various cities in the United States, and I pick up rail freight from the rail frame.
Right.
I mean, rail yard.
Wow,
I got excited. I thought maybe you were working for the pretzel company, Schneider's Pretzels, and I thought maybe you're delivering pretzels.
I did get some free goodies from some places that were Schneider, Lance in the Pants and stuff,
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, all respect, Linda, that ain't no joke driving them trucks. I got an old friend of mine, Denver. He used to haul cucumbers and tomatoes back and forth from Detroit to Lakeland. And
he's a reefer driver.
Oh, right. Well, I would meet up with him. He used to park his rig at that rest area. If for those in Orlando area will know, we call it the Longwood Rest Area right there on I-4 near 434. And I'd go meet up with him when he'd be in town, and we'd go, have something to eat or whatever. And I would check out his rig, and oh my God, man, you really got to mind your P's and Q's when you're driving them damn things. You definitely don't want somebody that's using dope driving them, that's for sure.
Well, where I was at in the snow was I was coming home Saturday on the plane. They fly me in, and I was hoping to get back to Chicago, but they sent me up to Green Bay. And then when I got down, I tried my hardest to get down the road. And when I did get down the road, I got to Racine, Wisconsin, and the snow started flying. I mean, it was white out. So I said, okay, I get to park it here.
Right,
So
right.
It was heavy, messy stuff.
I don't miss the snow.
Were you ever on Ice Road Truckers?
No, but I do know a couple of the cast members.
Oh yeah.
That they spoke with me personally, but they said it was all hype.
How cool is that?
It's embellished drama, right?
Well, hey, Linda, if I may. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the retired Ice Road Truckers, I've talked with them, and they said there was nowhere near such traumatization back in the 70s. But they don't remember that, these trucks are hauling a lot of heavier loads.
Yeah,
so...
Well, it's going to be a whole new ball game. Not to sound morbid, but we probably won't be around to see it. But they're already with the driverless trucks out there and all that stuff. And there'll become a time when that profession you're in now is no longer going to kind of be a thing anymore.
I told my company, because they're talking about getting the electric trucks, and I told my company, I said I want to be the first one to drive that because I'm impressed with that.
Right on.
Nice.
Well, hey, Linda, if I may, I'd like to, just kind of shift gears, pardon the pun, with you a little bit. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you checking in. We're going to have to talk again off the air to catch up a little more if you can. But in regards to our topic on this program, I often say, drug use and addiction, although it may not affect each of us individually or personally, I have yet to meet a family that hasn't been touched by this in some way or fashion, whether it's a niece, a nephew, a cousin, an uncle, an aunt, or a friend of a friend, or what have you. And so I just can't let this opportunity go by without at least asking you, has this topic affected you in your life in any way?
My uncles on my dad's side, they were alcoholics, but then they were also bootleggers in Delray, Detroit. My grandmother was a bootlegger, but she never touched the stuff. She had to do that to support 5 or 6 kids. I do attend the Salvation Army, which is a church. It's also a church. And a lot of the people that come into the church, they're, they come there because they, are getting a food bank, or else they're getting help with their addictions. The ARC, Adult Rehab Center that they have in Jacksonville and all over the country. Salvation Army does really good.
Great organization. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been told before that if you're going to donate to a good nonprofit organization and you want, like most of your donation to go to the actual cause, not to, fundraisers, that the Sally is one of the best organizations you can donate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I have a lot of friends that went on to be ministers in the Salvation Army. And the officers are ministers, male and female. They can both be ministers, ordained ministers. And they help out a lot, do a lot of social work.
A lot of great work in the community. In fact, there's a lot of people in the 12-step programs who have passed through some of the Salvation Army programs, and some of their locations even host meetings. So that's great. Well, I really appreciate you being part of our program today, Linda, and I hope you can do it again sometime. We've committed. back to doing this program live every Sunday, and then, of course, the recorded versions will be out there for, the end of time,
Yeah, I'll tell a lot of our classmates, that we're on WHFR and
yeah. Speaking of, I just got to ask real quick. I don't want to spend too much time because everybody else won't really get it. But do you stay in touch with any of our old radio friends from WHFR?
Yeah.
And
I was just talking with Mike McKenzie.
Oh yeah, him and I joined on social media. Yeah.
And Russ Gordon.
Yeah, I remember Russ.
I talked with him. Russ Gordon.
Yeah.
I think Dave Bierman is on my friends list too. Dave Bierman from.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my God, those are all names from the past. Well, hey, as we like to say, Linda, any likes, shares, subscribes, all the things we really, really appreciate. So again, thank you so much for chiming in. And like I said, maybe we can catch up off the air a little bit more and talk about some stuff, that we've both been up to for the past 30 plus years.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Mike's on now. Mike's watching it on now.
Thank you
really?
again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
All right, thank you, and enjoy. Bye-bye.
Thanks, peace. Wow, how cool is that, Dean? Our very first guest live on the Dare Me podcast. And that's true, man. That's an old friend of mine that I haven't talked to, and holy cow, I'm trying to think, man. That's the first time I think we've talked and since probably like 1989-ish. It might even been before that. Yeah, man. So we go back a long way. We've been kind of communicating on Facebook. We reconnected on social media not too long ago, but it's the first time we talked in a long time. So anyway, I see in the chat that my boy G is still on there. Glenn, if you're paying attention, man, we want to bring you on this program before we wrap up today. So, Dean, how do we get G on if he can do it?
I don't know. If he's got to be actively watching.
Yeah,
then we can get him a link.
I don't know. I got so many freaking people texting me right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Hey, check this out, Dean. I'm looking at my phone, and about 45 minutes ago, G texted me. It says, just a heads up, it's not on your Facebook page or Insta. I can only see it on Dean's page.
I went and looked at it on your page, even though it says we are streaming to your page. I don't see it on your page. I didn't see it on your page either. So, which was suspicious because I'm not sure. I could probably check and see if we're on the Dare Me page. I'm sure we are, but.
Oh, and now look, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm getting people saying can't find, unable to find how to join.
Yeah.
Man, we would have had a lot more people chiming in, but for some reason we're not on my page.
Okay. So it's 8 o'clock. Why don't we put some final words together, and then we can kind of figure out the rest of it.
Okay, and then what we'll do is get the recorded version of the program posted on my page, and we'll work out the kinks. There's apparently some gremlins in the system. Man, I wish I would have noticed that on my phone earlier, that we weren't live on all the platforms. But like I said earlier, man, we were committed to getting this first edition of the show done today. And so I feel like we at least accomplished that. We'll get the recorded version out there and work out the kinks and gremlins in the system so that we will, in fact, be live on all the platforms moving forward. Before we wrap up, I did want to say a couple of more things. I mentioned earlier my friend Dustin Warbear. He is the guy that created our logo and the whole graphic for the program and everything. And Dustin, man, you rock. I really, really appreciate how hard you worked. We kicked it back and forth several times and tweaked it and everything. And we'll put some contact information out there for Dustin moving forward, and we'll talk more about it. In fact, he's going to be a guest on the program because he's actually a music artist, too. He's a rapper and a good one. And we're going to have him on the program a little bit down the road. But if you're looking to have any graphic art work done, or looking to create a logo, or whatever the case may be, Dustin Warbear, he's in my friends list on Facebook and shit. But again, we'll be putting more information out there, for Dustin moving forward. And just want to say thank you again, Dustin, for all the hard work you did on creating our logo for the program. And then, Dean, I also I was really hoping we could take just a little bit of time to talk about, what you do, because, you've got this freaking awesome thing going on there, man, with the whole
I got a messy
studio.
table. Every time I switch to this camera, I have a really messy table.
In any case, we don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but I also want people to know about what you're doing, man, because it's such a great opportunity, especially for anybody who may be watching this program. If you've ever thought about doing a podcast, or you want any kind of video production work done, or whatever the case may be, I'm telling you, man, Dean is your guy. And if you're in the Central Florida area, he's got a freaking awesome studio out on the west side of Orange County there, actually at the West Oaks Mall. Dean and I were talking about how the face of shopping malls has really changed now, especially with Amazon and everything, and you're finding a lot of different types of businesses, groups, organizations in the malls. And the face of the malls have changed. But, Dean, I know you don't mind me sharing, you got your studio now at the actual West Oaks Mall, and it's really professional, so freaking cool. So if you would, talk a little bit about, yourself, your business, what you're doing, and if anybody else might be interested in doing a podcast, how you might be able to help them.
Well, I think it was about a year before the pandemic hit. I was considering opening up a podcasting studio, live production studio, television, live TV, talk shows and whatnot. But the short and skinny of it is that yes, at my old location I did, and then the pandemic hit, and then I realized really fast I had to ramp up. I had to, so at the time, before I was in this location, I had 3 podcast studios. I had 3 rooms that I was set up to do podcasts. And then, of course, we would do live on location podcasts and webcast podcasts. And then the pandemic hit, and I was blasting right through. Did a few shows, started picking up more work, and about a little over a year ago, an opportunity presented itself where I could get out of the location I was in, and I was looking around, but I decided to go home for 6 months, and now I am here at a mall, at a shopping mall. A lot of people go, why the hell would you ever move into a shopping mall? I'm like, well, if I was retail, I would never move into a shopping mall.
Right.
Because when you're retail, you got to go where the traffic is. And there's just very little traffic in a shopping mall. I'm sorry, it is. So here's what they're doing at malls now. They're putting all kinds of activities in malls. About a half a dozen spaces from me is a table tennis studio. Much like you could join a gym, you could join a table tennis gym where you can go in, there's a dozen tables, and you can just pick up a game.
Yeah, you got a radio station right across from you there.
You got a radio station across from me. There are some malls that have go-kart tracks in them. There's a mall not far from me that has a wine and gift shop where you could buy local wines, and in the back of the store they have like an open mic night. They have a comedy club.
Yeah.
in the back of a wine store. So they're just putting new things on, a new twist on why you would go to the mall.
Yeah, and the one you're at, doesn't it? It has a DMV there and the SunPass office, and so that mall ain't going nowhere.
No, not when the DMV moved in, and a lot of other like county related activities. So if you need your
I was even sharing with Dean that, I remember the old Fashion Square Mall in Orlando. For those of y'all that remember that one, I remember when they got a tattoo shop in there.
Well, I don't know about that, but
yeah. But, it just goes to show, man, that, back in the old days, you would never think of a tattoo parlor in a shopping mall, but now that's real common. And speaking of, by the way, that's another guest we're going to have on the program, man, is my friend Maria, my favorite tattoo artist in the world. When you're getting tattoos and you're sitting there for hours sometimes with them talking, you really kind of get to know them. And one of the things her and I talked about, people jokingly will say, "Oh, I need some ink therapy." That's a thing, man. That's a real thing. There are people who we know as cutters. Especially as usually younger people, they actually cut themselves as part of whatever it is they're going through. And she was telling me these fascinating stories, and that's very often connected to people caught up in addiction in some fashion, how sometimes people will use getting tattoos as a form of therapy. So it's just a fascinating topic, and she's agreed to be a guest on the show and talk to us more about that. She was telling me stories about how parents will sometimes bring their kids in. I see my boy G just chimed in. I'm not home. I'll come on next week for sure. Are you showing that on the screen, Dean?
Yes, it's on the screen. That's why I saw. I just noticed it, Glenn. Sorry, it's been, it's only been about 5 minutes since he did that. So
well, apparently he's listening, though, or watching on his phone or something.
He might be in his car. I don't know,
Let me, just for anybody that does catch this, clarify that, G is my son. And he will be part of the program moving forward. Not every edition, because he is a busy guy and all, but one of the things we'll be talking a lot about is exercise and fitness. And I do not know anyone in better shape than my son Glenn. He is by all means a gym rat. He lives in the gym. And he has, he's been, I don't know, probably a good 13 years or more where he goes to the gym on the daily, and he is in such great shape. I'm so proud of him. And, part of my recovery from being, caught up in addiction has been working on my physical health. And Glenn has been so instrumental in coaching me through that, man. Life's fucking crazy because, my own son helping me to save my own damn life. I'm in the best shape I've been in years. People who follow me on Facebook probably get irritated as hell with people like me who check in at the gym every freaking time we go and all that. But, that's for a reason, man. There's those of us that do it, and it is a motivation, and we see each other, man, and we always like each other. And I know for some people it's like, oh, that motherfucker think he all that, go to the gym all the time or whatever. But it's accountability for us, and it is motivation. And by the way, that's something I meant to mention earlier in the program. I am going to show some before and after pictures of me in full-blown active addiction, and I will tell you, it ain't pretty, man. It is not pretty. That's kind of a trendy thing now. People do show their before and after pictures.
Really?
Wow. Oh, yeah. In the whole Recover Out Loud community, people show these pictures of themselves where they look like fucking hell, and I got a pretty bad one that I'm going to show. And then I also have one of when I put on a lot of weight, y'all. I'm not a real tall guy. I'm like 5'7", for those of y'all that know me, and I got up to freaking 180. And, nothing against anybody who carries extra pounds or whatever. I ain't judging fucking nobody. I'm talking about me. That's too heavy for me. That is way too big for me. And I dropped 50 pounds, man. I put a little bit back on, but I'm in the best shape I've been in And, since I was a younger man, I was kind of athletic when I was younger. I played hockey a couple years. I was on the wrestling team, played baseball, football, that shit, before I got really involved with using dope, But I'm in the best shape I've been in since I was a younger man. But man, do I got some pictures of me when I really fucking ballooned up. So, as we get into the next program or I'll show some of that stuff because I think it's important to show that, you can turn it around, man. You can reinvent yourself. So, as you said earlier, Dean, it's about time for us to wrap this up and bring this thing full circle. And, kind of where I want to go with this whole thing is that, this particular edition of the program was all about kind of laying the foundation and just getting it all out there about what this program's going to be all about. At the end of the day, the main goal that I had when this came to me, because I truly feel like I was led to do this, not to flower it up and get all mystical and shit like that. This ain't no ego trip. This ain't no thing, oh, God, another fucking dope thing gets clean, gonna try to save the world and all that shit. It ain't about that, y'all. I promise you, it's not about that. My hope, my real true hope is that if this program helps even one person pull themselves through that active addiction, get themselves clean, and maybe even get them on the right path to stay alive and get clean even one day longer, then it's all worth it. We hope the program does kind of start to grow a little bit of a following, and things to that nature. But if we can help even one person with some of the things we're going to be talking about as we move forward, then we'll have accomplished our goal. And like I said, we've committed to doing this thing. We had a little bumpier start than we even realized today. We weren't on all the platforms. We thought we were live, but hey, man, the recorded version will be out there, and we'll work out the kinks and like I said, chase the gremlins out of the system moving forward. And for those of you that were able to tune in live and participate, we really, really appreciate it. Linda, thank you so much for checking in live with us. My boy G, and again, anybody else who was able to catch some of what we were doing here live today, thank you. And Dean, thank you as well. I appreciate everything you've done. Dean created this brick wall behind me. We got the green screen thing going on. We're still playing with that too. I'm not sure if that's going to stay that way. I kind of wanted to do the green screen with the brick wall. Dean was on the fence about it. I got a little green outline.
I was not on any fence. Yeah. I was off the fence.
Yeah, you didn't want to do it. Yeah. But I persuaded him, so I kind of like the brick wall behind me. I don't know. We'll see. And then Dean put the little Dare Me logo. Where's that? Yeah, right there. So anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say to wrap it up. Dean, anything you wanted to add?
No.
Okay, well, I think we got off to a pretty good start, all things considered. I did want to ask Dean, we can talk more about it off the air, but we'll get the recorded version prepared soon and be able to post a link and all that kind of shit. If somebody that's maybe watching now wants to watch again or forward it on to somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's go ahead and say goodnight to everybody, and
all right.
We'll get you next time.
Dean,
so
there you go.
no, we're good.
All right, y'all. Hey,
Glenn, I'm going to end broadcast now, but just stay with me, all right?
All right. God bless everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.